the underlying reason why somebody is outraged about that performance is because you're assaulting my God, right? And there's a lot of assumptions that you have to make that statement, right? So you have to assume that there is a God, right?
Yeah.
And you can prove it. I can prove my citizenship, but you cannot prove your God, at least to the whole world.
A drag queen named Pura Luka Vega performed at a show in the Philippines dressed in a Jesus Christ costume, while jamming with a crowd to a remix of the church's central prayer, Namin. The Catholic Bishops' Conference of the Philippines, CBCP, condemned the performance as completely disrespectful and warned against using religious symbols and prayers for secular purposes. Calling it mockery and profanity, Vega defended her performance as a way of expressing her own faith and making a statement for the oppressed, particularly the LGBTQIA+ community. Despite this, Senate President Juan Miguel Zubiri and other lawmakers criticized Vega's performance, calling it potentially criminal and offensive. This incident has sparked discussions about the boundaries of artistic expression and the sensitivity of using religious symbols in a secular context. According to the drag queen Pura Luka Vega, she defended her performance as a means of expressing her faith and advocating for the LGBTQIA community. She explained that the performance is her way of praising God and that she will not apologize for it. She also said that she is open to constructive criticism, but that people should not tell her how to practice her faith or perform drag. In a statement published by the ABS-CBN News, as cited, Pura Luka Vega said that the performance was not meant to be disrespectful.
Very interesting, right?
Oh, definitely.
I remember somebody once said, your freedom of religion is nothing but your freedom to be wrong. And I think, to be honest with you, I can imagine, I know why the Catholic faith is outraged by it. I think that's the appropriate word. That's what they use to describe their feelings about it. And
Miss Pura Luka Vega.
Pura Luka Vega felt like the LGBTQIA community was or still is oppressed, and that was her way of expressing her lifestyle of being a drag queen, right? That's how drags express themselves, right? Through cross-dressing as a woman and all of that stuff. So it was a combination of her faith in Jesus Christ and her being a drag queen, right? To be honest with you, I don't see anything wrong with what is going on here. Maybe, perhaps. I'm not sure. I'm not familiar with the laws in the Philippines, but potentially there could be something criminal. But I think that's still up for grabs. What is clear to me, though, is her expression is her right to be able to express her faith in that way, shape, or form. And I think she has the right to do that. And I think that's just fine and dandy, especially in a free world like we're living in the Philippines. We're a democracy, right? So I think she's free to do that and express herself, express her faith that way. And the Catholic faith also is free to express their disgust, their outrage about it. And she was asked, actually, a few days after that, will she do that again? And she said a resounding, yes, of course, she's going to do that again. And I think she has the right to do that again as often as she wants to, as long as she doesn't physically hurt anybody. I mean, she can do whatever the hell she wants to do. Oh, but how about you? What are your thoughts on that, man? Because I think I was looking at that video. I was looking at what I was actually watching also the video in its entirety, And to be honest with you, I didn't see anything wrong with it.
There's a lot of, there's a lot of weird gray lines when it comes to expressing yourself, expressing art. Even if he said like he never meant to be disrespectful. He never meant to be kana hindi siya ganahan na he would outright belittle, disrespect, or shame Catholic religion, because he says himself he's Catholic. So for him, he is also expressing his art, but
And his faith.
and his faith. Yeah, it's his way of showing appreciation.
Topics about this conversation, this topic is really, for me personally, I think based on the way I analyze it, is really about the fact that it is biblical. At least it's in the Bible. The Bible does not approve of gayness.
I do not support gay marriage.
There's only man and woman, right? So I think I don't know. I noticed that everybody talking about it on social media, they don't really talk about that aspect of the conversation, right?
Yeah.
That it is in the Bible that there's only man and woman. There's no gay. So I think the attack, the assault, the outrage is really about that, about a gay person dressed up as Jesus Christ and singing the Namin, right? So.
Yeah.
So that is an assault to the senses of the faithful, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think the bigger issue here is most things, especially the big things in life, are not absolutes. We don't really know exactly whether what we believe in is true or not. In fact, that's why we say it's faith, because it lacks evidence that we would say is 100% true, right? So if you come from that humble perspective, if you come from a place wherein you don't really know for sure if this is true or not, and if that thing is assaulted, is attacked, right?
Right.
You would probably be not as outraged if you had a little humility, right? Maybe what I believe in is still up for grabs. Maybe I don't have enough proof, and if it's being assaulted, you don't feel as outraged, right?
This is an outrage.
Right.
Because you don't really know, like I believe in this, but maybe he has a point. Maybe he's also right, or maybe I could also be wrong. To feel so strongly about something that I am outraged about it, because I don't know for sure. Now, I probably have, I believe in it, but if there's a countervailing evidence about what I believe in, and maybe I'll stop believing it as strongly as I should, right? So
Right.
I think that's really the bigger issue here, because you only feel outraged, you only feel attacked, you only feel assaulted if you completely and totally believe something to be true, right? And somebody tells you the opposite. That's outrageous, right? Like I don't know, like, give me an example of, if you're going to ask me to give you an example about something that I will be outraged about. Jiggy, you're not Filipino, right? That's outrageous, right? However outraged I am about that comment, right? I can show them proof that I am Filipino. You know what I mean?
Right,
I can show
right.
them my birth certificate. I was born here in the Philippines. I never am. I don't have any proof. I don't have any documents in my possession that says otherwise. I'm not an American citizen. I'm not any citizen, but a citizen of the Republic of the Philippines. I have proof of that. Although I'm outraged about it, but I still have proof. But I'm not going to express it because I know that I have proof of it.
Yeah, but I can prove it.
The underlying reason why somebody is outraged about that performance is because you're assaulting my God, right? And there's a lot of assumptions that you have to make that statement, right? So you have to assume that there is
A God.
a God, right?
Yeah.
And you can prove it. I can prove my citizenship, but you cannot prove your God, at least to the whole world, with 100% full certainty, right? And the entire spectrum of evidence that allows something to be true, right?
Right.
Or that is still up for grabs, right? You can still have a discussion about it at a minimum, right? So if you can still have the discussion about the truth of what you're being outraged about, then the outrage actually sort of dissipates. Because, yeah, we're going to have that discussion first before I'm going to get outraged. So I think much can be said about faith, and I think faith is beautiful, and I think faith is great. And go ahead and have faith. That's yours, whatever it is that you have faith in. You can have faith in a country, faith in a God, whatever. But I think you can have a little humility and leave room for doubt. And that way, you don't get outraged about it. I think it is a Buddhist precept. The beginning of suffering is attachment, right? So if you're attached to the idea of whatever it is, and if it's attacked, right, then you feel like you're being attacked, that you're being insulted, that your immediate response is outrage because you're attached to that idea, right?
Right.
So I think we shouldn't be too in love with our beliefs, with our ideas, with our deeply held beliefs, because I think what happens is we become so fragile.
And we thought you might have been like offended by something or other.
Assaulted instead of looking at and analyzing the situation, like, why is he doing that, and why do I feel outraged, right? Instead of doing that, people immediately go on the offensive, right, and attack the performance, right? If I'm from the Catholic organization, that's the Catholics. Bishops of the Philippines, CBCP. I think that's the one.
CBCP.
Yeah. They were the one who were first reactions, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd not react to it, because if you react to something like that, it's just gonna pour gasoline into the fire, and it becomes like a whole entire issue, and then it'll go out of hand. I think we just have to chill. You know what I mean? Just chill. And then, you believe in what you believe in. Maybe the whole world doesn't believe in it as much as you do, But that's fine, too, because, it gives you pause, too, and some time to also reflect on your faith, right? Why am I so outraged about this? Is this really a bad thing? Is it really a good thing? I think that video, that incident in our nation's history is a good thing. I think it allows us to introspect and examine our beliefs.
Right.
What do you think?
Being somebody who's super close-minded, super narrow with everything they believe in, that any outside source, output, or input of anything that disagrees with them, anything that would contradict their belief, is immediately, that's wrong.
I felt like the outrage was arbitrary, because I don't know about what any rule or law is against, because I don't think it's a law. Maybe perhaps it's a biblical law, maybe perhaps it's a law of the land, but I think it's more of a norm, right? It's a norm.
It is more of a norm.
You don't do that,
Something that's taken a blasphemous form to attack my faith.
That's what art supposedly does.
Exactly.
It's supposed to assault you. It's supposed to move you. It's supposed to sort of agitate you and say, hey, this is a long and deeply held belief. Maybe you should rethink that. You know what I mean?
Right,
That's
right.
what art does, I think, for the most part. That's what art does, especially if it's done right?
Mm-hmm.
If you know how to push buttons, and you know how to analyze a situation, and you make art off of it. I think that's important. I think we are a nation that needs to be, to be shaken every now and then, right?
Exactly.
Shaken to our core. You know what I mean? And that I think is a good thing. In fact, the fact of the matter is, we're talking about it. People are talking about it, and nobody is getting killed or put to jail. I think is beautiful. At least there's nobody that's been killed yet or put to jail.
Right.
Of course, it is still up for grabs, and I'm hoping, and I think nobody's going to get killed or getting put to jail with this. Hopefully, I think we have reached that kind of level of our democracy that it's fine. I mean, it's not fine. It's good for us.
A little pizzazz on the foundations of our life, of our community.
Pizzazz, I like that.
Yeah.
That's so gay, but yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I'm going with the theme. That's just how it is.
All right. Join us in the next episode of The Outrage Machine.